Right then. What is today? Taco Tuesday? Yeah. For some of us. I can't remember when I had tacos last. Yeah. All right. Out here on the Zen porch. Um, yeah. Just went downstairs to start making myself some dinner. I picked up a box of frozen, crunchy fish fillets. You know, that processed Van Camp's stuff, the fish fillets, the breaded things you get. Yeah. I bought a box because I really did not feel like breading, thawing out and breading some fish fillets and frying them. Now, I went grocery shopping the other day. What was it? The day after the 4th. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not happy with this grocery store here in this little one-horse town. It's a pick and save. Um, yeah, there ain't no saving. Their prices, and I don't actually pay attention to this very close. Like micro analyze. Oh yeah, that box of pasta is $1.57 more than my Piggly Wiggly. But I subconsciously noticed it. Yeah, coffee. A 1 gallon can of coffee is every bit of $1 to $3 more than my Piggly Wiggly grocery store down in South Central. Yeah. On top of that, Pick and Save does not have a perks program where you can get a card, and as a card holder, you get 50 cents off or $1.50 off of an item with use of the card, plus pump perks at a gas station. Pick and Save doesn't have this. I'm like, what? So they put these tags on the shelves to make you think you're getting a screaming deal. 50 cents off. Normally, blah, 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 you save 75 cents or $1. And the price is still higher than it would be at my Piggly Wiggly down in South Central. I'm noticing this, even though I'm not paying attention, if that's possible. So, I'm not happy. I'm not impressed with the selection. Um, yeah, so there's that. Um, I find myself looking forward to going down to my trailer in South Central just so I can go to my Piggly Wiggly grocery store and get some screaming deals. That's pretty sad. I'll tell you what, there's no competition in this one-horse town up here. If Piggly Wiggly were to come up here and give Pick and Save a run for their money, you would see a price war on groceries that would benefit the consumer. Competition. Yep, that's where it's at, to keep price gouging in check. Just my thoughts. Today's work day, it went pretty good. I had a couple of calls that I was stressing out about. One of them was a high-end client. The guy that owns the Peloton or whatever it is, exercise equipment company, he's got a house way up in the Pickers, and it's a mansion. While I was in there, they were talking about. They had a guy there. They had a consultant there. They were talking about putting in an elevator, a bona fide, full blown elevator in this house. The reason is they rent the place out for a week, $10,000. As she said so eloquently, got to pay for this fancy house somehow. Wow. It'd be really cool if I could figure out how to do that here, but the situation is I live here. I can't rent out my trailer because it says right in the rental contract for being in the park that you can't sublet. So my only course of recourse would be to live at the trailer and rent this place out as a vacation home. Yeah, no. I love sitting on this porch too much. After all, say it with me, it's a dream I've had since I was 10. But they had a high-end Perlick brand. Those are made in Milwaukee, those appliances. Beverage cooler, a wine cooler. And right out of the box, there was no illumination or use of the user interface control module. I think, I don't know for sure, but I think I might have misdiagnosed the situation when I was there the first time. I can't remember. But I took it apart. I tested for voltage to the control module. It should have had 120 volt feed to that module. I cannot remember if I had 120 volt feed to that module or not. I want to say I did at that time because I ordered another control module thinking the original one was defective. Perlick, it was under warranty. This appliance comes, this is how good these appliances supposedly are. This is the first one I've ever worked on or seen or heard of. All right? Their stuff comes with a 6-year warranty. That's unheard of. And it's high-end stuff. So, I found that out today. Why? Because I called Techline after I put in the new control module and it still would not light or power up. I'm like, okay, I'm at a loss. I call their tech line. I am grossly disappointed with their tech line. I had the tech line guy on the phone, and all I heard was crickets. Yeah, he made a suggestion in the beginning. He said, well, take the bottom panel off in the back and see if the wire harness is from the power cord is unplugged. And I said, oh, I take it that's a problem you guys have had and you're aware of. And he's like, yep. Doesn't get plugged in at the factory during the assembly process. that particular individual on the assembly line's not doing his job. Um, so I did this. I saw two wire harnesses there. One of them was plugged in, and the other one wasn't. It was just hanging there. Now, there's a phenomenon that comes with appliances, and I don't know why this is, where they'll have a wire harness, and some of the items on that wire harness are not plugged into anything. They're capped off. So it's almost like they build a wire harness for an appliance, but that particular wire harness can be used in multiple different appliances, and you just plug in certain harnesses and leave the other ones unplugged. This particular beverage center was riddled with those. There was open wires everywhere. They all had plastic plugs on them so they wouldn't short out, but I was like, what does this do? What does that do? Is this supposed to be plugged in? That's why I called TechLine, to find out what's supposed to be plugged in and what's not on this model. I take the cover off, I see that, and from that moment forward, the TechLine guy didn't say anything until spoken to. In fact, several times I had to say, "Are you still there?" "Yeah, I'm here." He wasn't talking me through anything. He wasn't telling me to do any voltage tests, to trace any wires. I'm laying there on the floor, on the phone with the guy, and basically solved the problem myself. Wow. Now, Perlick, after I ordered the control module, apparently that ordering of the control module had to be approved by Perlick. So they got involved with JC. JC calls me and says, from now on, anytime we work on a Perlick product, we need to call TechLine and have them involved in the process. What the hell good does that do if the TechLine guy is just sitting on the other end of the phone chewing on cheese sticks and not saying a friggin' thing or helping me out? I ended up solving the problem myself. What was wrong was, like I said, there's these two big plugs that have a bundle of wires coming out of them. One plug had 3 wires, one plug had 5. In the cabinet, there was a female receptacle for those plugs to be plugged into. The bundle of 5 was just hanging there. The bundle of 3 was plugged into the wrong port. It was plugged into the place where the bundle of 5 was supposed to go. I discovered this while having the unit energized and bumping the bundle of 5, and it rubbed up against the metal wall of the cabinet, and I had my own little fireworks show down in this guy's wine cave. Blew the breaker. Oh yeah. I'm like, well, there's live voltage at that unplugged harness that's just hanging there in free airspace. So I crane my head and I look underneath there and I see the 3-prong plug and I see the 5-prong plug and the sockets that correspond. I go, it was like a Sesame Street moment. I'm like, which one of these things is not like the other one, trying to fit the 3-prong? Somebody had literally plugged the 3-prong into the 5-prong socket. So I switched them around, plugged the unit back in. Oh my God, everything worked. Wow. At least I didn't ruin the unit, or the unit wasn't ruined by the plug being plugged into the wrong socket by the factory guy. That would have sucked. But yeah, tech line, crickets. I'm the one doing all the talking. When I was done and I got it working, I said, "Hey, I figured it out. I got it. It's working." "Well, that's good. Thank you for calling Perlick." And he hung up. What? "Oh, you gotta call Perlick Tech Line every time you work on one of their appliances. They need to walk you through it." The hell I do. Frickin' mental midgets. Oh man. The guy wanted to video chat with me. Here, download this video chat app, and then I can see what you're seeing on my end. I don't have time for that. I'm way the F up in the pickers. It's all I could do to get signal in the first place. The first guy I was talking to, I talked to two different people, and they were both mental midgets. The first guy's asking me questions. Oh, so this is a residential unit? Oh, it's not a commercial unit. Oh, what's the serial number? Oh yeah, I see it's a residential unit. Oh, okay. And what problem are you having again? That call got dropped once I went down into the basement and I went into the guy's wine cave. I was like, F it. Threw the phone on the counter and I started messing around again with the unit to try to figure it out. And I'm like, no, I gotta call him back. Then I got a second guy. That's the guy that went silent eating cheese sticks while I did all the work. FML. But I got it running and it works. And the multi-millionaire customer is very happy. He was telling me a story about how they got sued for, what was the number? $475,000 or some shit like that, because somebody was on one of their treadmills at a health club, at a gym, was running on the treadmill. The lady on the treadmill next to him dropped her water bottle and it rolled underneath the treadmill that was next to her that the guy was running on. What does this mental midget do? She reaches underneath the treadmill to grab her water bottle while the thing is whipping and rips her arm all to shit on the rubber track that's whipping around on that treadmill. Sues the company and won the case. What? So, common sense, lack of common sense, pays big dividends. Do something an ignoramus would do and get rich quick. So I gave this guy some advice. Again, CEO, creator, and founder of an exercise equipment company. I believe it was Peloton. I told him, I says, "You want a solution to that problem?" "Well, sure, you got one?" "Put skirts on the treadmills." "What do you mean?" I says, "Get some heavy gauge plastic. When the treadmill is on the floor, the skirts are on the sides of the treadmill and they come down and they touch the floor. That way nothing can slide or roll underneath the treadmill. Use a system with a spring and a loose slip nut so that when the person raises and lowers the treadmill, or somebody wants to run up a hill, that skirt still touches the floor but covers up the gap underneath the machine so shit can't roll under there." He's like, "That's brilliant." You're welcome. Yeah. So that call turned out okay. The last call of the day was another one. I've been there. It was a DTR situation, straight up. But I was DTR. I was there for the first call. Ice maker's not making ice. It's a frigid air unit. I go there. I enter onboard. This is the first time. I enter onboard diagnostics, and I can't get the ice maker to twist to harvest any cubes. Oh, faulty ice maker. That portion of the onboard diagnostic run would not work. So I order an ice maker. I go out, I put it in. Customer calls back 2 days later, still hasn't made any ice. I go out there a second time with another ice maker. I didn't reorder the ice maker because I knew now it's not the ice maker's fault. It's something else. They pre-ordered. JC or somebody at the headquarters pre-ordered another ice maker. You don't have a bad production run on parts and the manufacturer doesn't catch it right away. There's not a warehouse somewhere with 500,000 faulty ice makers that are being sent out to appliance repair companies to use as replacement parts for faulty ice makers. No, they catch it pretty quick. So I didn't put that ice maker in. I called Techline. I said, here's what I did. Why won't it work? He says, well, on this particular model, you have to, after you install the ice maker, you have to do a hard reset on the main computer by unplugging the refrigerator for 5 minutes and plugging it back in, so that the computer board recognizes that you replaced the alternator, the ice maker. Oh, there's a secret fix. Okay, so that's what I did. I went back into onboard diagnostics. I ran it through the test. Sure enough, it twisted and dropped the ice cubes. I'm like, there you go, problem solved. Customer calls back 2 days later, still hasn't made any ice. I went there today. The powers that be, the people that know everything down in Central, the appliance repair geniuses ordered another ice maker. Didn't put that one in either. Got there, went into onboard diagnostics. Everything worked, and it dumped the cubes that were in the ice mold waiting to harvest. But that means the ice maker didn't harvest and refill on its own. There's two things that can cause this. One is a defective main board. The main computer is not receiving the signal from the thermostat on the ice maker telling it, okay, enough time has gone by and it's cold enough, drop the cubes that are frozen and refill with water and make another batch of ice, and keep doing this until the bin is full. That's one possibility, bad main board. The second possibility is that the ice house itself is too warm to make ice. In other words, the sensor that's on the ice maker is taking a temperature reading and it's above 10 degrees in the ice box itself. Well, if that's the case, it means there's an air leak somewhere letting warm air from the room or warm air from the refrigerator compartment into the ice maker. The sensor says, nope, I'm too warm. Don't even bother trying to make ice. That's where my mind was going. Something like that. So I did a couple of tests. Everything checked out. I called Techline. Techline walks me through the diagnostic steps again, and he said, I want a temperature reading right now, when you haven't opened the fridge or the ice house, of the temperature in the ice house. 18 degrees. Now, on my last visit, I had turned the temperature down for the refrigerator from 37 to 34, thinking maybe somewhere there was an air leak. I was already thinking what this guy was thinking. Sure enough, the sensor read that there was 18 degrees in the ice house. It needs to be 10 degrees or lower before it'll make ice. I said, what could cause this? I checked everything that would let warm air into this. He says, is there a seal? But he had to dig around because there was no service bulletins for this problem on this particular brand or model number. So he dug into the archives and found a service bulletin for another model that indicated they were having a problem with warm air entering the ice house around the opening where all the wire harnesses plug in to the system. There's a gap there. The wires come out of the wall of the fridge. There's a square cut out of the side wall of the ice house, and those wires come into the ice house and plug into the ice maker and all this other stuff. There's a gap between the wall of the ice box and the wall of the refrigerator letting warm air in. The service tip fix is to put adhesive foam around that square so that when you put the ice house back in, there's an airtight seal in there. Okay, that's what I did. We'll see if they call back. Yep. The other two calls were diagnostics. One was on a GE front load washing machine that I was at before. This guy has rabbits for pets. Yeah, that he just lets loose and run all over the house. So there's little rabbit turtlets everywhere. That was fun stepping in those. But anyway, I had an electronic issue with that before. The computer board fried, so I had to put boards in that unit. Now it had a leak. So I ran the unit. It took about 20 minutes. And sure enough, some water started coming out underneath the machine on the floor. So I opened up the front of the machine, and the fill hose from the detergent dispenser drawer that you pull out, this was a front load machine, you pull out to pour your soap in, that was leaking. It wasn't seated properly on the outlet port of the dispenser box, and it was drip, 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 drip. So I readjusted everything, put a new hose clamp on it. First call complete. I don't remember what the other diagnostic was. I don't remember. So anyway, it was a good day. It was a full day. Punched out about 4 or something. Yeah. Came home, like I said, I was going to make that fish, right? So I was going to make the fish in my little magic countertop oven. I opened the door to put the fish in, and I saw a series on the racks in the oven. I saw a series of snowballs. I'm like, what the hell is that? They were mushrooms. The other day, I had put a pack of stuffed mushrooms. It had cheese and spices and things like that. Stuffed portobello mushroom caps in that oven to cook them. And I completely forgot they were in there. The snowballs that I was seeing was mold. Fine angel hair mold. Yeah, each mushroom looked like a snowball. I forgot they were in there. I need a mommy. Yeah. Hey, honey, where are the mushrooms that you made for supper? Oh, that's right. Hold on. Pull them out of the oven. Ah, I need a mommy. Yep. Apparently that's a fault. Yeah, that's a flaw. I need a mommy. So, yeah. So, how do I deal with this situation? I don't want to breathe the mold. I don't know what it is. It's white, it's fluffy. It looks like the hair on a chia pet, except it's white. So I opened the door, I saw that, I quick closed the door. I'm not going to breathe in those spores. How do we deal with this? Well, we turn on the oven to 470 degrees and we let it run for 15 minutes and we kill the shit. So, that's what I'm doing right now. I hope that mold is not flammable because I'll have 6 little fires going in that oven. Yeah. Funny shit. So there's $5 going to waste. But I'm going to make some supper here. And I think after supper, I'm going to grab the drill and a drill bit. I'm going to go up on the deck, on the upper porch. I'm going to punch a hole through the floor and fish the cable down below. If it doesn't get dark, it's still pretty light. If it doesn't get dark on me or anything like that, I might actually punch the hole through the wall and fish the cable into the house. Yeah. Yep. So, at least we'll get something done, right? What else? Mia. Mia chimed in. I did a little experiment this morning. I didn't do my usual, I'm a nice guy, I'm the perfect husband, and chime in and say, good morning, hope you slept well, hope you had sweet dreams, how you doing, how's little bitters? Nope. I just stayed radio silent to see if she would contact me. Effort displays intent. If somebody really cares about you, loves you, wants you in their world, they will make effort to include you in their world. You should not have to go crawling to them to get their attention. They will make you a priority. Right? So sure enough, about 10:30ish, she chimes in. I just want to wish you a good day. What does she do today? I'm hanging out with the Amish ladies. They're canning peaches and they're teaching me how to do it. And she sends me a winky emoji. Now, she knows I like peaches. Yep. Especially canned peaches in syrup. You put that on French vanilla ice cream, that's a little slice of heaven right there. Peaches and ice cream. So she's learning how to can peaches. Sweet. That was the last interaction with her all day long. So when I got home here, I chimed in and I said, so how are things going over there? And, oh, now I'm delivering a trailer for the boss. I'm like, she said, I'm dropping off a trailer for the boss. I'm like, what? So you're still driving for him even though you're not on that super pill? And you're hauling trailers? Okay. So I'm curious how that's working out for her as far as stress, you know what I mean? You know, panic attacks and shit. She's doing it though. All right. Haven't heard a word from Scrunch. That's fine. Whatever. That just wasn't going to work out. No. If she's that twitchy on the trigger over nothing, There ain't a cold rolled chance in hell of her ever having a good relationship with any man. The minute he irritates her and says something she doesn't like or something along those lines, her answer is to pack up her shit and run away. She's going to be a lonely cat lady for the rest of her days. Something in her brain has snapped. Yeah. So. All right. That's about all I got. I'm going to go downstairs and check the. Yeah, you can come with me. We'll go down and check the status of the science experiment that was growing in my little miracle oven. And we'll see if 470 degrees took care of the problem. All right. I don't smell any smoke. What do we got? Nope, we still got snowballs. Look at that. Oh, there's no heat. Why didn't it not turn on? Okay, now it's running. I don't know, for some reason it didn't start. So I'm curious what's going to happen here. But, yeah, so that's that. Must be 6 o'clock. Yeah, it's 6:24. The cat's going nuts. Can you hear her in the background? Let's do the old black bear scratch my back up against the tree. Since I don't have anybody here as a servant to take care of all my needs. There. Much better. All right, we'll talk to you soon.